Hey people of VC, it's Andy, a cloudy milder. I can't guarantee you that this episode of It Came From The Inbox, Volume 9, will be the greatest VC video you've ever seen, but it will be a tribute to the greatest VC video you could have seen, which is the version that my phone managed to just mangle a few moments ago. So it's take two. So if I perhaps come across as slightly less enthusiastic than I did before, or slightly more inebriated than I perhaps would have done before, then I blame Samsung totally for this. But I've got 7 more albums for you, and I'm going to run through them again. And I hope this is going to be as great as the last, as I thought the last one was. But let's go in. This is the first time you're seeing it, so I'll try and keep it. Good. Stay calm. Angel of Light, Angel Witch. Their 2019 release. Angel Witch, obviously. The debut album was a stone cold classic. Everyone raves about it. I don't think it was necessarily the best new wave of British heavy metal album that ever came out, but it is a must-have, I think, in most people's collection. They're still kind of going strong now. I think this is their first album for about 7 years, though. I think 2012 was the last time they released. It's a single album on gatefold. This is a Metal Blade pressing, so it has all the quality you would associate with Metal Blade. It's got nice, shiny foil, embossed band name and album title down here. Kevin Haben is the only original member from the band still going, but because he's the vocalist and guitarist, there's that continuity that's still there. It's still very much an Angel Witch sounding album, and I think this is superb. I think there's only one perhaps weaker track on here. That The Night Is Calling seems a little bit laboured, but the rest of it, Don't Turn Your Back, Death from Andromeda, We Are Damned, Wood of Despair, I Am Infamy, is all a really good quality stuff. So I would thoroughly recommend it. I have to say, that is a solid album cover. It's a little bit too well built in that the record itself doesn't fit inside the sleeve very well, so I have to keep it between the gatefold, but that's a minor problem that I can live with. It's Metal Blade, so it comes with a poster. I always say I'm not going to open them, but then I always open them anyway. And so we have it. It's the same as the album cover, but slightly bigger, so you get to see the detail. It is absolutely fantastic artwork. But you expect that from Metal Blade, don't you? Obviously the classic Metal Blade label, and this is on Signal Orange vinyl. You can kind of see it's orange with red, kind of clear orange with red bits, for want of a better term, in there. And I kept the hype sticker. I stuck it on this new outer sleeve. So Signal Orange, Angel of Light. This is limited to 400 copies worldwide. Also came with a download card, and I love it when records come with that. I'm obviously limited to listening to records at home. I like to listen to my albums. I like listening to my albums online, or when I'm on the move. God, this was so much better first time. I like listening to my albums when I'm out on the move on my wee little FLAC player, and if I can, it gets me more into an album if I can, if it comes with a download or CD as well. Mirror, Pyramid of Terror is album number 2 for today. This is also a 2019 release. Now, it's been 4 years since Mirror released their debut self-titled album. it's been a long time to wait, and 4 years for an established band isn't a long time to wait, but for a fairly new band, I don't know, could it be Death or Glory? In this case, I hope it is Glory, because Pyramid of Terror is um, even better than the debut self-titled album. Check out the song I Am the Freak. So Pyramid have very much they're a Cypriot band. They have very much a sound that is comparable with the Scorpions in terms of the vocal style, and Rainbow in terms of um, the, the tone and the sound. They don't sound like a Rainbow clone or a Scorpions clone at all. They have carved out their own niche, and they've done it really, really well. There's also some Sabbathian riffs going on. I love that word, Sabbathian. But again, they don't sound like Black Sabbath, but there's some clear nod of the hat to them on here as well. As I say, better than the debut album. Songs to check out is say I Am the Freak. Running from the Law is quite a fun one as well. Black Magic Tower. It's a great album. Check it out. This is on Bad Omen Records, and Bad Omen Records, while being a smaller label, certainly I think than Metal Blade, always put out quality releases. This is it's the inner sort of sleeve. It's the inner no lyrics, which is a shame. I always like to see lyrics on there. But it's the standard Bad Omen labels, front and back, on the plain black vinyl. Now, next up, from a great album like that to a not so great one, really. Now, you all know I collect Music for Nations albums on that label, particularly the ones between 1 and 100. But Music for Nations MFN 79 is probably the album that has made me realise that just buying records because they're on a label is not the best idea I've ever had. The cover perhaps gives it away as well. So this is Michael Furlong and Breakaway. It's from 1987. It is Music for Nations number 79, and it's if you like really melodic, synthy, keyboardy AOR, then you're gonna love this album. I don't, so I don't love this album. Michael Furlong is actually, it's kind of a one-man show. He's responsible for lead vocals, all guitars, but not just all guitars. He lists every single guitar he plays here, because that's important, obviously. Fender Strat, Jackson Custom, Roland GR707 acoustic guitars, and Ghost guitars, guitars that died and have come back from the afterlife. But he also does drum and percussion inserts, Rickenbacker bass, and backing vocals. But then he has additional musicians that not only play synthesizers, he has somebody who plays the grand piano, Wurlitzer electric piano, and synths, and then additional keyboards. It's just, that was the alarm bell that should have prevented me from buying this album. But I did only pay, what, $2.99 for it. So I bought it because it was on Music for Nations, but it's made me realise that I perhaps should stop doing that if I don't want to waste my money, because to me this is a waste of money. But what's a bit ironic, really, is that Music for Nations number 80, the album that MFN put out after this one, is by a band called Wild Dogs, and it's called Reign of Terror. And Michael Furlong is the lead singer for Wild Dogs Reign of Terror, and I absolutely do want that album. That is a killer heavy metal album. I don't know if there was some contractual obligation that if MFN put out could only put out Wild Dogs Reign of Terror if they also put out this piece of shite, but there you go. Obviously it didn't necessarily work out the best for Michael Furlong after he left Wild Dogs. From 1990, he became a professional Tom Petty impersonator. So there you go. I don't know, maybe he was more successful at that. I certainly hope so, because this is certainly not my cup of tea. So the only blessing is I paid only £3 for it. £3 for a Patrick Swayze is nothing to be sniffed at, but the music stinks, so you don't want to be sniffing at it anyway. Next up, Blackout, Evil Game. Now, Blackout are a Dutch band, originally released on a Roadrunner. This is a Canadian pressing on Attic. It's still licensed to Roadrunner up here as well. Blackout are the kind of band I would expect to see on something like Mausoleum. They are a straight up, no frills, heavy metal band, playing kind of early 80s metal towards the mid 80s, should we say. They have a touch of the Thin Lizzies about them, but they're kind of heavier than Thin Lizzy. But then again, they also have a bit of a Motorhead feel to them, but they're not as aggressive as Motorhead. So if you're looking for a band that's somewhere between heavier Thin Lizzy and more subdued Motorhead, Blackout may be the band you'd be looking for all your life. But this is a great album. I'm really happy to have this one. It's not going to blow you away by any means, but a good album to have in the collection. As I say, although it's on Attic, it still has the Roadrunner labels here. Check out the songs. Motorcycle Bitch, the first one, is really good. The Evil Game, which is the second one, which is not my favourite track on the album, but that's the one that probably sounds the most, or maybe you think most of Thin Lizzy when I heard it. But Demon Eye Woman, Screaming Metal, Ice Age Hunter, Victim of the Night. It's good, straight up heavy metal, and I think you'll enjoy it if you check them out. I do like these inner sleeves. So this is it's a split inner sleeve between showing Roadrunner releases, where you have like Merciful Fate, Mad Max, Motorhead, some Judas Priest there. And interestingly, so this is the inner sleeve for that came with Blackout, but it's advertising Blackout here and saying the jacket graphics are not available at time of price. There we go. And on the flip side of the inner sleeve, we've got some Attic releases. So Attic, obviously a Canadian label. You've got your Anvil, Killer Dwarfs, Lee Aaron, Riot, all good stuff. Nice pristine inner sleeve there. Next up, I'm still on a huge UK thrash metal kick. I've talked about this before, and I will at some point get around to doing that video, but you know, I hate planning for the videos because they never come off. But one album, regardless of whether it was on a huge UK thrash metal kick or not, a jewel in the crown that I have been looking for anyway is Force Recon by Virus. Interestingly, no mention of the album title on the album at all. It's only in kind of red on black, difficult to read on the spine of the record. Pictures of the band, 7-track album. This is a US pressing on Combat. I don't have too many Combat records, but I was surprised to find this one as a US pressing for a UK thrash band. The cover for me is to die for. It screams and bleeds thrash metal. It's aggressive, it's fast, it's all out in your face technical thrash metal, and I love it. I'm even doing the grip as well, just to prove how thrashy it is. I saw these guys recently on the 40th anniversary of this album back in 2018. Coke McFinley is the only guy from this period of the band. I don't think he was even an original member of the band, but still going with the band today. And this is the shirt I picked up from that tour, the 40th anniversary of Force Recon. If you could look on the bottom left hand side, penultimate gig, Edinburgh, Scotland, Bannerman's. It was a great show. Really enjoyed it. Have the original inner sleeve. As you can see on here, it's got marks. It did have nice yellowing, crisp sellotape across that side. Not the opening. That would have been ridiculous. The back and the bottom. I've used some of this stuff. This stuff's amazing. Sticky stuff remover that removes sticky stuff. But it does what it says on the tin. I have to use it sparingly because it's on paper. So what you see here isn't the tape. It's kind of a stain left by the tape. Still has a slight residue feel. So another application, I think I'll get most of that off. And then I've got a method of just using some paper glue on like a cotton bud and just rubbing it along there, and that dries clear, seals it up nicely, and it makes it ultimately makes it look like there are no seam splits at the end. And I'll keep the record itself in a separate inner sleeve, so when that's inside, that should look quite nice, apart from the obvious aging that we have here and up here. So but we'll see how that goes. It should work out okay. So this is on the combat label, and Virus, yeah, one of my one of the better UK thrash bands that was out there. Next up, some Iron Maiden. Now, I'm not a big Iron Maiden bootleg person, but I couldn't resist picking up this a while back. This is the Soundhouse Tapes EP and more rare early tracks, December 1978, sorry, to April 1980. As you can see, it's early Iron Maiden. So everything on here is pre debut album. The first three tracks, Iron Maiden, Invasion, and Prowler, are taken from the Soundhouse Tapes. I'm never going to own a Soundhouse Tapes single ever. I mean, that's just it's not even worth me even thinking about it. If I ever got the opportunity to buy one, I wouldn't. There are better things that I could spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds on than a 7-inch single. So to get it on vinyl in this form is pretty good, along with 12 other classic early Maiden tracks, and all these are non-studio tracks. There are demo versions here, there are BBC sessions, there are B-sides, and there's a couple of live tracks as well. We've got a couple of versions of Iron Maiden, a couple of versions of Running Free, really good early version of Wrathchild, which obviously came out on Killers, which is less aggressive, but you recognize the song, but the arrangements are all slightly different. The lineup, so Paul Di'Anno, Steve Harris, and Dave Murray, they're the mainstays on all of the tracks, but we've got early members, pre debut album members playing, like Tony Parsons playing on guitar. Obviously Dennis Stratton plays on a few of the tracks as they got nearer to the releases that he was on. Doug Sampson on drums. Doug Sampson was the drummer before Clive Burr, and some Clive Burr tracks as well. If I'm wrong, but I think that's Tony Parsons here, and that's Doug Sampson there and there. So there's some great stuff. I kind of think this is kind of the only stuff that you would really get on a bootleg, and it's really well done. It's no frills in terms of the inner sleeve, and there's no liner notes or anything like that, but it sounds absolutely superb. I often associate some sort of bootlegs with sounding tinny or badly produced, but this is on a label called Verne, which is out of France, and they've done a fantastic job of making sure that they've got really good quality tracks to put on it. So that's great stuff. last but certainly not least is this band. This band is called Velvet Bomb, and they're a Scottish band, and there's only two of them in the band, guitarist and drummer. It's a 6-track, I guess, mini LP. It's gatefold. It's a self-produced, self-released album. Really good quality. They've done a great job on producing this. I came across Velvet Bomb. I was a bit bored, and I was looking at if there were any up-and-coming small gigs in venues local to me. And I came across a band called Florence Black, and I listened to them, and they weren't my cup of tea at all, but supporting them were Velvet Bomb, and I gave them a listen, and I thought, wow, I mean, if there's two people in the band, they have got such a big sound. You'd think it was a full band playing. There's not much information about these guys online. On Discogs, they're classed as sort of hard rock, garage rock. But yeah, I listened to the song "Bullet to the Brain." Have a listen to that on YouTube. That really piqued my interest. I went to the show, and given there's one guy sitting behind the drum kit, and this guy's just pretty much got the stage to himself. He commanded the stage. He had real stage presence, real kind of rock star qualities to him. Little or no audience interaction at all, but as I say, he still come out of that stage. Though even the way he was kind of strutting up and down and playing, it was just mesmerizing. And I don't recall them actually having any merch at the show, but when I went home, I went straight online and I ordered this mini LP. I'm struggling to give them justice as to the sound, so check out "Bullet to the Brain" on YouTube, and you will understand that sound. As I say, self-released, so it's fairly plain. 3 tracks on each side, but absolutely superb stuff. But they went the extra mile. There was a little note, or a short note, but big note. Hi Andrew, included a freebie copy of our 7-inch single as well. Play It Loud, Rob and Dak at Velvet Bomb. And yeah, lo and behold, there was they also included, which way up, halfway up, the 7-inch single, which is The Land of Doom and Dread and Zombie Eyes. That's a pick there I picked up from the show, and this is on white vinyl, I think. But yeah, I mean, this was going for a few quid on to order it online, and for them just to chuck it in, I thought was just such a cool gesture. So it was a great end to a great show, especially as I wasn't really that fussed by the main the headlining act, Florence Black. But there we go, kind of everything. So that's it. That's my 7 albums from the inbox. They're going to make themselves on the shelves. I'm back to the old angle until I can figure out what went on with my my phone to corrupt the last video. I hope this one certainly came across okay, because as I say, the doing things through a second time never quite feels the right way. I did want to end off by a little differently, by talking about a couple of live streams. One that I was involved in yesterday with Greeno, who he was one of the guys that got me into making VC videos about 5 years ago, and George Wildheart. They now run a channel called Man Cave of Doom, and they are doing all they do now is kind of live streams, and they try and get special guests on from the VC, and they asked me to be a guest last night, and I had such a fantastic time. It was such a blast. It's I'll leave a link above and below and all that goodness. It is about an hour and a half long, so don't feel you need to watch the whole thing, but I would thoroughly recommend checking out their channel and seeing which guests they've got coming up and who's been on before. There may be some of your favorite YouTubers that they have already had on and interviewed so far. And also it's given me and a couple of the other UK guys a little bit of impetus to give it a go ourselves. So I've been in cahoots with Battle Mickey, Mark G with a C, and the Rock Scout, and we're going to do a more of a themed live stream than a sort of an interview or just a general chat. You will see that if you're subscribed to me, you will see a placeholder for that. Should have popped up on your feed. Now set a reminder for that and join us on Friday night UK time, 9:30 p.m. And we're going to talk some rock and metal albums that we like that are in our collection, and we're going to see how it goes. I think it should be a lot of fun, so I hope you can join us then. I will also try and leave a link to that as well, but obviously the link won't go anywhere just yet because it's a placeholder. But thanks for watching. I will catch you again soon.